kickstart mass COVID-19 vaccination campaign. Global concern mounts over new COVID-19 variant. And millions take to the polls in the Central African Republic amid threats from rebels. Hello and welcome to TeleSUR. I'm Doris Polo in Quito, Ecuador, and this is From the South. The European Union has begun its official coronavirus vaccine rollout. In Italy, the first vaccines are being administered at the Spallanzani Hospital in Rome.
It has been painful to witness the defeat that this virus has caused. But today, there is an awareness that it is an important and decisive day. Science and medicine are the only means, together with the civic sense of each one of us, that will allow us to emerge victorious from this tough battle. I see it from the heart. Let's vaccinate.
Now there is a vaccine. Others will come. It will have to be distributed. And let me say this, at Spallanzani, it will have to be distributed to everyone and to all the citizens of the world, free of charge. Because in the face of this universal tragedy, it is truly a universal good that will have to be guaranteed to everyone.
Well, vaccinations against the novel coronavirus kicked off in the German capital, Berlin, on Sunday, with 101-year-old Gertrude Haas, who received the jab at her retirement home.
The virus is very dangerous. One has always heard and also read about the many deaths in other retirement homes and everything. Right? Absolutely terrible. And therefore, it is very good that one is vaccinated against it now. That's a big advantage for us old people here, yes.
Everything was well prepared. Patients are glad that they can be vaccinated. They are quite proud that they get to be the first. And everyone also appreciates that with these vaccinations, we now have additional protection, especially against the severe courses of the disease.
Furthermore, a 96-year-old living in a care home in central Spain became the first in the country to be vaccinated against COVID-19 this Sunday. Spain is aiming to immunize up to 20 million people by June, with an initial target of 2.5 million by the end of February. Under EU deals, the country is lined up to receive 140 million doses, enough to vaccinate 80 million people, which is almost twice the population. Meanwhile, France began its campaign in care homes for the elderly in the Paris suburb of Saint-Denis, a low-income area hard hit by COVID-19. A 78-year-old woman named Morissette was the first to receive the jab, prompting an applause from staff. The government is aiming to have an initial 1 million people consisting of seniors, vulnerable individuals and healthcare workers vaccinated against COVID-19 by the end of February in the country's 7,000 nursing homes and related facilities. Mexico has received its second dispatch of the Pfizer-BioNTech COVID-19 booster 2 days after launching its immunization campaign. The nearly 43,000 doses arrived in Mexico City and the northern city of Monterrey on Saturday afternoon. The country started to administer the vaccine on Thursday after receiving an initial 3,000 shots.
We are working as health sector and government to be able to protect the Mexican population. We started on the 24th of December, as you all know, and we will continue throughout the year, working intensely for the good of the health of the Mexican population. 42,900 doses are currently arriving.
South Africa has recorded a surge in COVID-19 cases as several other countries across the world battle against the new strain of the novel coronavirus. The number of confirmed cases in the country is expected to top 1 million by today, as new infections have increased almost 7 times than last month, burdening the healthcare system. The spike has been attributed to the new COVID-19 variant, which has a higher spreading rate than the first. The new COVID-19 strain was first discovered in the United Kingdom, forcing several countries to ban travel to and from Britain. Among those countries is Japan, which has banned non-nationals from visiting, having detected the new COVID-19 strain amongst arrivals from Britain. The ban will take effect from Monday and is expected to stretch up to January. The Ministry of Health said 5 people who tested positive at the country's international airports have been infected with the new COVID-19 variant, first registered in Britain, and all of them were returning to Japan from the UK. Malaysia has reported 2,335 new COVID-19 infections, the highest daily spike to be recorded since the outbreak of the epidemic. The Ministry of Health says at least 235 new cases have been confirmed, bringing the national total to 103,900. 11 of the new cases are imported, while the rest are classified as local transmissions. Meanwhile, the number of people who have died from the virus locally has climbed to 451. We'll take a short break now. Don't go anywhere.
Brindan hoy por los ausentes. Abrazos que no llegaron. Alzan vasos los valientes. Un corto silencio alado. Que en el vuelo del recuerdo, por todo lo que ha pasado, resiste lo que no pierdo, la llama del fuego alzado. Por todo el miedo que espanto, por toda angustia raída, por la tristeza que canto, para invocar a la vida. Brindo ahora, más que nunca, esta hora del encuentro, porque sé lo que resulta mirar un poco hacia adentro y encontrar en los cajones lecciones y despertares, mirar sin vacilaciones, descender de los altares. Conocernos las heridas, saberlas nuestra verdad, para encontrar la perdida razón de la humanidad, y que florezcan de nuevo los milagros en las manos de un oficio que sublevo para no rendirme, hermano. Mañana cuando levante el sol de un año vencido, te abrazaré como antes, con el amor renacido.
Who's moving the chess man? What interests and motivate the actors behind each event? What's at stake? Critical Move investigates every event from Monday to Friday. Only on TeleSUR.
Welcome back. Evacuation centers have been set up in central England after hundreds of people were forced to leave their homes due to flooding. Some 1,300 houses were cleared out after heavy rainfall caused the River Ouse to burst its banks. Residents woke up on Boxing Day to find their streets, nearby parks, and in some cases their homes already underwater. Forecasters say the bad weather is set to continue throughout the weekend, with winds of up to 112 kilometers per hour and more heavy rains. U.S. authorities have probed an explosion that ripped through part of Nashville on Christmas morning, while the governor requested an emergency declaration from the White House. On Saturday, FBI agents converged on the home of a possible person of interest as investigators scored around 500 tips and leads. The explosion of a motorhome at 6:30 a.m. local time on Friday damaged dozens of businesses and injured at least 3 people. No deaths have been confirmed, but authorities are examining tissue found at the blast site that they believe could be human remains.
And I'm grateful to Governor Lee's request to the White House today to have a national emergency and to get federal help for rebuilding 2nd Avenue once that work begins. One other thing is we still have a curfew in Nashville and will until tomorrow afternoon. This is an active crime scene. I would encourage people not to come to downtown Nashville until that curfew is lifted and let the FBI and our federal partners do that work.
We can't confirm any individuals or anybody we've identified. Again, as we've mentioned, we have over 500 investigative leads, and we're following up on every one of those. So there are a number of individuals that we're looking at. So at this point, we're not prepared to identify any single individual.
In other news, Puerto Rican salsa singer Tito Rojas, known for his songs El Gallo Salsero and Siempre Seré, died at dawn on Saturday of a suspected heart attack. One of the singer's daughters confirmed his death to a radio station. Rojas' last performance was a virtual one on Christmas Eve via his YouTube channel. Real name Julio Cesar Rojas Lopez, he also sang on the tracks Colegas and Por la Calle del Medio, which are the latest songs by Puerto Rican salsa singer Gilberto Santa Rosa. Rojas released his first album, Mima la Pululera, together with Pedro Conga in 1972. A popular television personality has died suddenly in Guyana. Riaz Hussein passed away on Christmas Eve after complaining of feeling unwell. Hussein became a household name for hosting NTN This Morning, which airs on Mondays through Fridays for the past 24 years. His last show was on Thursday morning. Voting is underway in the Central African Republic in presidential and legislative elections, seen as a key test for the troubled nation. The polls take place after a week of turbulence, marked by accusations of an attempted coup, the brief seizure of the country's fourth largest town, and the dispatch of military personnel by Russia and Rwanda to help the beleaguered government. UN peacekeepers and local and Rwandan soldiers armed with machine guns have been patrolling the streets throughout the capital, with armored vehicles posted outside voting places. While no major violent incidents have been reported, rebels allegedly threatened the election officials and would-be voters in the northwest.
I have come here to carry out my duty. When you are a citizen, you must exercise your duty to vote. And in terms of our security situation in Bangui, the situation is stable and I am not worried about going to vote.
These elections are important because Mr. Tuadera is a Democrat. People wanted to postpone the elections, but he didn't want to. For us, that is democracy. That's why he accepted that we vote. I came to vote.
And speaking after casting his ballot in the capital, incumbent president and ruling party candidate Faustin Archange Touadera thanked Rwanda for sending troops to help secure the voting process.
I sincerely thank President Paul Kagame, the Rwandan government and the Rwandan people for their support securing this process, which will allow Central Africans to freely choose their leader. Every 5 years, the Central Africans freely choose their leader. The institutions responsible for this mission are the ANE and the Constitutional Court, and the date set is the 27th. That is why all Central Africans come to vote, and I myself came to fulfill my civic duty.
Well, millions of voters have gone to the polls in Niger as well, in an election that is expected to lead to the West African nation's first transfer of power between two democratically elected presidents since gaining independence from France in 1960. Now, according to opinion polls, former Interior Minister Mohamed Bazoum, the ruling party's candidate, is the overwhelming favorite to succeed President Mahamadou Issoufou, who is stepping down after 2 5-year terms. Out of the more than 30 candidates, the main challengers to Bazoum are two former heads of state, Mamani Ousmani and Salou Djibo.
I just vote and I hope that the best one wins. 2 terms have passed. We saw what the state was, and now we will still like to have more enthusiasm and peace and stability, especially, and we would like the Nigerians to get to work.
Staying in Africa, the death toll from a Wednesday attack in Ethiopia's Benishangul Gumuz region has risen to 222. The strike occurred in Bulen County in the Metakal zone. The state-appointed Human Rights Commission initially estimated that more than 100 people had been killed. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed called the attack a massacre and has deployed troops to the area. On Friday, the military said it killed 42 men accused of carrying out the onslaught. Turkey's Defense Minister Hulusi Akar on Saturday made a surprise stop in Libya to inspect his country's troops stationed there. Thousands of Turkish troops were deployed to the North African country earlier this year to help the UN-recognized government fend off an offensive by renegade General Khalifa Haftar and his so-called Libyan National Army. The two sides signed a ceasefire agreement back in October. But on Friday, Haftar threatened to pull out of the deal if Ankara does not withdraw its forces.
The decisive confrontation has begun to appear for the near future from what our scouts detected from maneuvers and mobilization of the Turkish mercenaries and soldiers near the front line of piling up weapons, equipment, building military bases and operating rooms. Today, we remind the world of our consistent position that there is no peace in the shadow of the colonizer. And in their presence in our land, we will take up arms to make peace with our own hands. With free will, we will make it our army of heroes.
And in response, Turkey warned Haftar that any attack on its troops would be met with full force.
A war criminal, murderer, Haftar and his supporters must know that they will be seen as a legitimate target in case of any attack on Turkish forces. If they take such a step, they will be unable to find any place to flee to. Everyone should come to their senses.
We have more stories coming up. Stay with us. Welcome back. Yemeni citizens of Al Jamiliya, the most destroyed neighborhood in Taiz, lit hundreds of candles on Christmas Day to draw the world's attention to their appeal for an end to the war in their city. The nearly 6 years of clashes between Houthi fighters and a US-backed Saudi Arabia-led coalition has killed more than 230,000 people and caused what the United Nations has described as the world's worst humanitarian crisis.
There are children holding pictures on their martyred fathers and brothers. There are children holding pictures on their martyred mothers. Every place in Taiz is being bombed. Nowhere is safe.
Staying in Yemen, the unity government has been sworn in, closing the curtain on violence and political wrangles in the country's southern provinces. The new administration consists of 24 ministers representing major political forces. All members have taken the oath of office before President Abed Rabu Mansur Hadi in the capital, Riyadh. On December 11th, after months of stalemate, a coalition of political parties announced they were set to implement security and military mechanisms under the Riyadh Agreement, which led to the formation of this new government.
Today we are facing a new phase that must prevail in brotherhood and association, and to reject division, and directing towards building the state and its institutions, fusing with the people and resolving their concerns, and facing challenges and moving on the path of the future with new Yemen.
Iran is wary of a sinister move by the United States to force payments for the Middle Eastern nation's acquisition of a COVID-19 vaccine through its banks. The U.S. Treasury's Office of Foreign Assets Control initially said it did not have a problem with the transfer to a third country, but later set a condition that the money had to first pass through a U.S. bank. Iranian President Hassan Rouhani accused Washington of attempting to freeze the funds, referencing past events where the Donald Trump administration commandeered his country's monies amidst a wave of sanctions.
We want to transfer money from a country where our money is to buy the vaccine, and this country has accepted. It said later that the money had to first pass through a U.S. bank before being transferred. Who can trust people like you? You have stolen our money everywhere you found it.
At least 8 climbers have died in Iran, while several others remain missing after an avalanche pushed them down a mountain north of Tehran. Rescue workers are continuing to search for as many as 12 people who went missing after several days of heavy snowfall and a blizzard in the Alborz mountain range. Several roads have been closed due to the bad weather. Tehran lies at the foot of the range, which has several ski resorts and popular mountain trails. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has offered to hold fresh talks to end a stalemate over new agricultural reforms in his latest push to win over farmers protesting for almost a month against the move. Tens of thousands of farmers have been camping out near several entry points to New Delhi since November 26th against 3 new laws they say will lead to the dismantling of regulated markets.
So many lies are being spread against the new farm laws. Some people are spreading lies amidst the farmers that the minimum support price will be stopped and that the local market will shut down. You can sell your produce anyway and to anyone you like. Wherever you get the right price, you can sell it there. We are ready to discuss every issue of the farmers. We are ready with open heart for a solution.
With that, we've come to the end of this news brief. You can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. Now, for our viewers in Africa, remember you can find us on StarSat channel 461 in South Africa and channel 539 in Nigeria. And join us on social media. For TeleSUR English, I am Doris Polo. Thanks for watching.